live, just so we know.
Judd,
You're live.
did you, I mean, that's what you got, right?
Yes, That's just for the bond.
I know.
Yeah.
I know,
You never know.
but I didn't even know if we could do that until it's actually a TIF.
You don't think we can do a TIF?
No, I don't know if you, because he wanted this done, started like today.
Who's
almost.
he?
Well, the timeline that was presented, Tom.
Well, that was just to do something that we had done back in April. I mean, he wanted the Economic Development Commission established.
Right, and all that's been done, I understand that. But I'm saying, before you get a bond, don't you have to have that district declared to be?
I don't know the order.
All right, so we've got Kyle here. We have Denise here. We have Kaylee. We have Cindy. We are currently missing Tom. And we are missing Paula.
Oh,
And I think that's it, right? I think that's it.
Okay.
Awesome. All right. So the only things, well, I said we have two. We have, sorry.
Isn't Eric on?
Oh, and Eric. Sorry, Eric.
Honestly, don't know which one I'm on.
I
You
think
just
he's on it because I think there's 7 members.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
can come up
Who said
here.
that they
Tom.
was the one that said with the job conflict?
Tom, yeah, and he had mentioned that to me at the last, and I think I had asked you about him, I say
Participating
Skyping, and I don't know if we don't have that as an option, or maybe I had asked Ingrid.
You don't
Yeah.
have it as an option.
Yeah, okay.
Easy to do, but you don't have that.
So our goal moving forward, is it to have one every week or as needed like it was before?
I feel like it's as needed, but we've just had something, I feel like every time.
Okay.
Or we're
You mean
working
every
on
month?
something every
Every month?
month, every month.
I think you said every week.
Yeah.
Or
it's
sorry,
every
I meant every
Yeah,
month.
every
I meant every month. Yeah. But I meant it's there for a while, like it was, we were relying on outside issues
Yes,
to have meetings.
yes. I think so. I mean, do you know of any other that meets every month?
No.
Okay. I would say, yeah,
So Warren County does, but they cancel if there's nothing on the agenda. So I mean, it's.
I think,
6 a
I
week.
feel like we've just been in we've had like a thing for like the last 8 months. I feel like it's been where we've had something, but before that we weren't, it was like every couple months. So I think once we get,
This will slow down.
I think it'll slow down I feel like as soon as we fix something else kind of pops up that we need to talk
But
about.
the thing that we need to fix once we're done with these things tonight is we need to get started on the zoning,
That's true.
because the zoning is kind of discombobulated.
Was that for redevelopment? No, that was, okay. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's us. Sorry.
Like an overhaul of the zoning code, or what do you?
Just looking at different areas that have been like one-offs where R1 is all around them, and maybe now it's not B1, that we would ask it would go back to R1, something like that. Larry wanted to get that cleaned up, I think, just because we had so many that had
Yeah, get rid of like the spot zone.
the spot. Thank you. That was right. Spot zoning. Sorry.
Gotcha.
Yeah, there's some places here in the city, Jed, that are residential areas, and then for some reason, one residential house is zoned business.
So eventually we would like to do that. I know that, I think Ingrid had mentioned at our last meeting that that could be kind of costly to us, especially if we do that, then we'd have to send out the certified letter. So we talked about looking to see where our budget or where that money comes from to see if we are in that. And if not, maybe waiting. But that doesn't mean we can't go ahead and plan, and maybe at the beginning of the year when,
And it just depends on the number of neighbors. If you want to tackle an area at a time, I mean,
well, that's a good idea too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
you don't have to do it all at once.
Yeah. But we could still meet.
Larry
in it.
did say that they could get it in the budget.
Okay.
He said that at the last city council meeting.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's something we had talked about too, but that was kind
What in
of,
the budget?
Huh?
What was in the budget? Or
The spot zoning that we need to clean up.
budget?
we'd have to send out certified letters to them.
Oh, the
just
letters were in the budget.
Yeah.
Got it.
Yeah.
Sorry.
because I think it might be costly. So depending on where that's at and stuff. So I think the main thing that we were discussing now was we were basically, we were waiting for the last meeting, we only had 3 people here. We didn't want to vote on anything with the commercial stuff until we had at least one more member
Yep.
here. We didn't feel like it was good. So we have you now, that's great. I think we were only making one small change, and I think it was something that Cindy and I wanted, which was the vegetation.
Mhm.
included in that.
included in that. That was an option, I guess, is what we had talked about.
So I drove around quite a bit.
Mhm.
Have you guys?
Yes.
So I was trying to pitch that, but I don't know that that's going to be doable.
Not the
Like,
What
vegetation.
area are you thinking about? That's the problem.
Well, I mean, so go to Tractor Supply for example.
Mhm.
What's the house?
Oh, Gulf Ridge,
Okay.
behind them, sorry, are you
No,
talking
what's
about
the
Autumn Trace?
Autumn Trace?
Yes.
That's business.
It is business. Okay, so but right on the other side so you have business, but then you have Larry Smith, which would be the edge. So he would have to put trees all around his property.
No,
Larry Smith's
no.
business.
Yeah, but he touches agriculture.
Not the residential person. I'm thinking
Right.
that should be the expense of the business.
Right, but he would have to because he touches
No,
Side.
the business would have to.
Larry. He is business.
Well, then everything's business.
Well, that's what I'm trying to say is like
What does he touch?
So,
he touches agriculture on his. He's the last one.
but that's
when it-
not residential. We were talking about when it butts up against a residential.
Okay, so take the library.
Mhm.
What's that?
It's
Take
a not-for-profit.
like
No, that's a
you
good
have
question.
areas that you physically don't have the space to do it. Like I started driving around and you start
But
looking.
the library doesn't have any shipping containers.
And no, this was for green space between. Isn't that
Right.
what you were talking about? The green space and commercial.
Uh-uh.
Or no?
No.
Yes, that's what
Only,
I was considering, because when I go into other communities, in most of them, they have green space between industrial and residential.
But you're just talking like a vegetative fence? Is
Yes,
that what you're talking about?
yes.
Okay, that's, okay, I was confused.
okay.
Yeah. I'm sorry. I thought
No,
that's
no,
what you were
no,
talking
you're
about.
good, you're good.
No,
And
I
I've
believe
been
what-
driving around, like I spent a lot of time to look at that.
Yeah.
And I'm like, like when you start getting in these, like when I had it in my head, I was looking at Little Beverage. So when you have a lot that's of that size, he spaced it. I mean, you can do it. But when you start getting into these little smaller lots and things in town and different things, here, take Paula, for example.
Mhm.
You couldn't do that right there with her.
But I don't consider that industrial. And I'm not even thinking
It's commercial.
business. I'm thinking more industrial, commercial, more industrial space.
Industrial would be different, but commercial is where I was.
Okay.
Says your industrials are going to be like,
Do we have it listed as
AEM.
commercial or industrial?
Harrison Steel,
Yep.
C&D.
which is big space. It was the commercial that I was sitting here going, how could you? Because like take Paula's lot,
Mhm.
okay. Now, given that she's Airbnb, and I would say the same whether she was here or not.
Yeah.
Is she commercial or isn't she? Which doesn't matter.
She's
then-
business one, isn't she? Which
But
is
she
in
touches
commercial.
now. She touches the lot behind her.
Yeah.
So now she's got to put green space. There's physically no space. And then let's say she's not. Go to the little strip mall on the other side of her.
Across the street from you.
Yes. There's no space.
Well, I think she's B1, and I think that's been B1 for a long time because there's been a business in there for a long time.
And I was just giving examples of places you do not have space. I
But
think
what we
you
were
would hinder-
discussing was the green area to block off the shipping containers, correct? Not necessarily between each business, but to
Right.
block off
Well,
the shipping containers.
definitely the shipping, but then I came up with, I think if you have an industrial area, it needs to have a border or something around it if it's butting up against residential.
Industrial, I think, is
It's okay to do that.
because I mean, is there even a size minimum for industrial?
Size minimum? No.
Yeah.
It's all use based, no.
So would there be a area where you would have industrial that's small?
Mm-mm. I doubt it.
So commercial, okay, if you put industrial over,
Mhm.
now commercial, because it all came about from the sea containers. And I was like,
Mhm.
the problem is you're trying to fix aesthetics.
Mhm.
So that's where it stemmed from.
Mhm.
And,
Right?
like on those particular lots, how were you gonna fix aesthetics? Because a fence isn't gonna fix, it's only
Right.
fixed 6 foot.
Right.
How do you fix the aesthetics?
I know, I feel like we've talked about this.
I think
Um,
on those lots.
Take, what's the Hope Springs?
Mhm.
Right there you would go. It's commercial versus, like, when you start really thinking about what's commercial versus,
They're residential.
even with all the,
They're R3.
okay.
But no, pretend they weren't. It's still, I get what you're saying. It's still, and this kind of goes back to what we were talking about before on some of these other things that aren't zoned the proper
Properly.
thing, the zone spotting. That this makes sense for us to go back and try to,
Clean that up.
yeah. So that kind of connects.
So I
with
think
that
a
too.
lot of neighbors do that anyway. I mean, I think Hope Springs, if that was a business, putting up a vegetative group there,
Mhm.
for separating them from the other lot would be doable. That would not be,
If your lot's 50 foot wide, what's your lot?
55, I think.
Okay, let's say you have a city, like in an area like that, where you have a 50-foot lot and you lose 10 foot. Or 7 foot for trees. You're losing,
I don't know that you're gonna lose that much. I don't think you're gonna lose that much, and it doesn't have to be big trees, it could be thin bushes.
Okay, I have a question kind of jumping back. Like it still applies to this, but I guess my question is the main reason that we talked about this was shipping containers. That was the lead on this. We were doing it for residential and then we did a separate one because you made some really good points on how we needed to make it a little bit different for businesses, which makes sense. My question is, do we pause the conversation about between residential and a business right now, whatever that business is? B1
Sure.
or all of that. That's not just for right now, so that we can discuss strictly just the seed container situation, make sure that we're okay with that and how that is done, and then circle back around to if we want to do that.
That's fine.
That way we can focus on one at a time, and then
isn't sea containers done for residential?
we did residential, we're done, but not business or commercial.
Okay.
Sorry, yes. I guess I was trying to lump things in, just doing the residential or just doing the commercial.
We did the residential.
Right,
Yeah,
okay.
that was done.
But how we came back into this was, what was the point of limiting the sea containers on commercial property
Was the aesthetics.
aesthetics? And that's how we got in this.
Yes.
That's true too.
And then my question is, when you get into sea container storage trailers, where's your lines? And then we all come back to fixing the look of something.
Mm-hmm.
So how would you think that should be worded?
I've been struggling. I put a lot of thought in this. Because not all businesses are even the same.
So you made that good. I feel like you made that point where you're saying like Paula's business is different
Right.
than Harrison Steel business. So
Right.
what is Paula's zoning maybe or classification? And I'm using just her because that's what we talked about.
Yeah.
Do we look at that and say, okay, if
Well,
you're
then just
zoned
then
this,
just table this.
Okay, so question for you. If we have the commercial thing, okay, here's a seal, they have a lot of trucks come in and out constantly.
Mhm.
But where the trucks go in, you never see it from the residential side. Because I've not ever seen it unless a trucker got lost and went down the wrong road. You don't see the truckers going in from the residentials in
Well,
that
there's
area.
really not residential butted up to it. They're across the
No,
street.
they're across the street, but I
it was more or
wouldn't,
less butted up to them.
but I wouldn't even consider them butted up because all of their trucks and trailers
That's
and
what I'm
everything
saying,
are on
the
the
resi-
back side of the business, not where it's near any residential does butt up because there's a lot of houses right there on, what is that, Mound Street?
They're across the street.
Yeah, but it's still,
But they're across the street. And I was thinking if you're butted up next to it.
you are touching.
Okay,
You are touching,
okay,
if you're
okay.
butted up,
okay, kind of like C&D.
So here, take your AutoZone.
Mhm.
There's your prime area. I mean, there's a driveway in between,
Mhm.
but literally you have a house and now you have AutoZone.
Mhm. That's a good point, Jim.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it'd be nice if they put some greenery.
But I mean, does it
Be
change a
encouraged.
project if you, I mean, that's where I'm getting to, like, and as I looked at other towns, like it's not super common. Go to Crawfordsville, go to
For
like,
a green vegetation.
like when you have big projects, like that's where it kept going to. Like here, if you were building Harrison's from zero,
Mhm.
it would not be unreasonable to go, okay, you're gonna put a green space around. You're building a solar farm from zero. Projects are big.
Put
It's
green-
nothing to
Okay.
warrant.
Pretend for a second we don't have anything written out. Let's go back to zero, nothing. Let's pretend we're starting the conversation over. The whole thing that we keep going back to is that word aesthetic.
Mhm.
How is it aesthetically pleasing? How can we make it look better? So if we started, and I'm not saying we do this, but we could, so if we started completely over, where would a starting point be, and how do we get to our ending point more effectively? Because I feel like we've talked about it. I think that everybody's bringing up really good points. I don't want to necessarily like rush into it, just be like, this is what we're doing.
If I was to answer that question, I would say
Would you say not at all?
no. So I like we talked about historic districts.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I don't think that there's never a one size fits all box, and to Eric's point, that's why you have variances.
Mhm.
Okay, you ask for a change of something, but you know, you never have a one size fits all. You never have a set it and forget it approach. There's always change. There's always, you know, something. But I think anytime where you don't have something, that's your easiest time to fix it. So like if you were to say, Kyle, what would you start with? It would be
Mhm.
downtown
Mm-hmm.
where you don't have anything.
Mm-hmm.
That's great. That's when you plan something, is to go, this is what we want our future to be. This is, you know, that's what we paid for that fees if they're the,
Mhm.
or was it fees, what was it?
The master plan?
Yes.
Mhm.
Like that's the point of that stuff. And we're gonna hub these areas. It's very hard to fix old,
Mm-hmm.
you know, in great, like, you know, so I don't know, that would be my thing of like trying to preserve certain areas and focus, you know, what like if you were to say, this is what we want to protect in Attica, what would you say it would be?
Personally, I think the historic districts are really well protected with what they have on the books now, between our ordinances and the, what is it, the landmarks. I think that they're pretty well kind of in their bubble already. So I think we need to look outside of the historic, and even downtown, because downtown, there's not a whole lot of issues, especially since we did the 200 block. There isn't a whole lot of issues with trailers or anything like that down there to cause an aesthetic issue.
I think the aesthetic issue for me is it is all over town, and I don't appreciate people coming to our community and seeing a bunch of junk like you're in a dump in somebody's yard, whether it's a business or a private. I think that is not the face that we want to put on Attica, where you drive through and you're going, ooh, this place isn't that cool.
Is
And
that-
so you asked me what I thought.
I want to come back to that point. Okay.
So I think, I don't know, Eric, did you ever get somebody to help you with the zoning?
We just did it. We just got somebody on.
Good.
Haven't officially started yet.
Okay. I'm thinking being able, because Eric doesn't have the manpower to have done this. But I think just enforcing the codes that we do have is a start.
That was going to be my next question.
That's
is,
my thing right there.
Yeah.
do we have to write a bunch of rules? Do we have to write a bunch of new rules or enforce the ones that we have? That was going to be
I
my.
think you have to enforce
We
the
need
ones
to
you
enforce them
have and then
now.
see if you really need any additional. Because, I drive down my street and I get to a corner of one and I'm thinking, my God, they're living in a dump.
Mhm.
And it's junk and crap and stuff just piled in the yard. That's not
So like,
aesthetically pleasing to anybody, neighbors or anybody going down to Attica Floral to have to pass that. So I think just enforcement, and maybe that new person can work on that.
The place you're talking about's already been enforced. It's actively being worked on.
Yeah.
Good, good.
So that's a positive.
Because
So-
you do go into communities and you think, wow, I mean, this place is well maintained.
I feel like you definitely have that. I feel like there's definitely certain areas of town where I think there's areas of town here where we live where it's definitely like, oh wow,
I know, but
this
there's
is taken
definitely
care of.
there.
But and then there's not, and it's not necessarily. I think it's just trying to make everyone's home all of us feel like this is home, making it nicer, making it more welcoming for people, and not having it be like what you said. We're not jumping it up. But the junk is a separate issue. Our big issue is the storage containers, which when we talk about, I mean, do we want to table the storage container situation for business? Do we want to think about it more? Do we want to still think, what is our big picture here? I'm not saying we do. I'm just asking a question.
Well, if we table it again, I don't have a problem with doing that. I think when we come back in October, we better be ready to
I thought
make a decision.
I thought we were gonna make a decision tonight, because that's what we
That's
were
what, yeah.
tabling it for last month for,
I know.
so.
And I want to be your thorn in your side. on this
Shocker.
one.
No, I'm just
I
kidding.
know, because I'm going to keep being pro-business.
Right.
That I don't think we fix the problem. If there is a problem, I don't think we fixed it by sea containers. Just when you look at Attica, like the housing is different. I was in full, I was full into that, right? Because you are protecting neighborhoods and there's like, you are, but when your business is different, like you have to protect what you're trying to protect. So you want to protect the residential side of it, 100%. But you got to protect your businesses too.
Mhm.
So what do they need to do to conduct business? Now, granted, a hair salon probably doesn't need it unless they're remodeling or something like that. But like there are a lot of businesses that are in Attica that do need storage and storage containers and trailers and different things like that. I think those purposes need to be protected.
Well, maybe
It can be
you,
done tastefully and aesthetically pleasing. You want a prime example, go behind Boudreaux's. When Robbie Criswell brought in those shipping containers, he painted all of them to match, and it's honestly not a nice one.
right, it isn't.
I didn't even know. I kind of forgot they were down there
Yeah.
until I
Right.
drove by.
Yeah, it's
A week ago.
the first thing when he brought them in, he had Ron Kirby paint all of them the exact same color. I mean,
And they do look nice.
Yeah, it doesn't look like the proverbial.
So then maybe we put a or set a standard that a committee says, this is what is available. If you do this,
Would
then
that? I feel like that might look better if it was painted.
Yeah,
And I wouldn't oppose that things need to be,
Yeah.
if you want to limit it to just sea containers being painted, I would not oppose that.
Yeah.
Right? But I was just trying to go deeper into, does that fix all your aesthetic problems?
Yeah. I think that
and you were saying previously, no, it doesn't.
I think it would solve it as long as it's not like gaudy colors or something crazy. Like if they want to
So,
take a single color or maybe a mural, that would be two different
Maybe you
things.
have a committee, like that's supposed to be for the historic area that says, these are acceptable designs that you can do in the historic. That's what that committee was set up to do.
Mhm.
Maybe you have one.
You don't ever have a problem until you have a problem.
Right.
And the thing
Well,
of it is,
until you don't address it and people start complaining and saying, why is that there? It looks terrible. What are you going to do about it? Gee,
but you can say that with anything. You never have a problem until you have a problem,
Well-
right? Until somebody doesn't. And the thing of it is as long as anybody does anything within good taste,
Mhm.
you don't have a
who
problem.
measures good taste? Though?
But you can't do whatever project in good taste. Like,
No, it's too vague. You have to have a
Yeah.
standard.
So are we going to work on by next,
Standard.
a standard by the next meeting?
if you want to limit the sea containers that they have to be just aesthetic, or however painted, I'm not going to oppose that in any way. Like that's not something I will, because it's like, that's a perfect example.
I think there should be something in there though, that if we do require it to be painted, that if somebody tags it or there's graffiti or something, they have to repaint to get it. It can't. have that on there permanently. Has to be taken care of. Yes.
Eric's example was also right in the middle of a commercial area. It's not, doesn't butt up to a
Resident.
residential area at all. It's not behind your house and my house. It's downtown amongst other commercial areas. So I think you need to draw a line somewhere between those comparisons. I mean, just because it looks good down behind Robbie's in a commercial area doesn't necessarily mean it's gonna look good in your backyard.
But how much of that is zoning versus,
A lot of it
commercial?
is, unfortunately, we're not big enough to have, these are all commercial and this is all residential. And there's been so much spot zone we've done over the years that we're trying to eliminate, in I won't say recent years, but in years past, we've really made an effort not to spot zone areas. And if we did, it was done through the BZA to where you get a special exception and you have to live by these rules to make it happen. And then if you ever sell or move out, you're done.
It's a conditional one,
Reverts back.
it reverts back to the previous residential.
Would we be better to go back to the spot zoning priority first
So.
and see where we sit?
I was just actually thinking that if we looked at the
That's what I was
map,
thinking too.
if we looked at the map on there and said, okay, this property butts up to residential, butts up to, this B1 is against industrial, but we don't really feel like it needs to have anything, but if there's something there, we would like it to be painted or, something like that. I think that makes sense. I hate to put it off more, but I also don't want to do it the wrong way.
Maybe we just need to have a committee meeting. Go around and look, each one of us take an area, go around and look and see what some of our concerns are. And then bring it back to a meeting and say, this is what I've seen, and give addresses and
I can,
not to put any pressure on the people, but just to give an
Just for us.
example. Yeah,
I can send the email that has the zoning map. I think I have that. I can send the email that has I can give you a zoning map so you can see where it's at. To kind of see that outline on it, and then
that
we
just
can go
might
from
help
there
us
too.
all see what,
Because that
we're
way,
talking about.
but that way, and then really you could drive through the middle of whatever one of them is, but you don't, I mean, if it's all, we could do it that way. What do you think about that? I think that's a good idea. Okay, so that's what we're gonna table it. You need to hold on to work for us, but we're gonna table it. Thank you. Okay, the next thing that was on the list, which we talked about, you were not at our last meeting, so we only have like 17 minutes. We're not gonna be able to get into it very far. Do you want to explain it one more time?
Why do we only have 17 minutes?
Because we have till 5 o'clock, right?
No, the other meeting got moved to Thursday.
no,
No.
it didn't.
That's tonight. That was last month.
That's, yeah,
I thought it was tonight, sorry.
I think that, right?
it is tonight.
I thought there was a meeting tonight.
5. So we have, yeah.
I'm sorry.
No, you're good. So Eric has had a couple different developments. Do you want to kind of explain it, and then we can kind of go with what our thoughts are on it?
Okay, there's several people that have been wanting to bring in the Amish built cabins. So right now with our criteria, if they bring something in and let's say it meets the 720 square foot footprint, they can technically bring in something that's 8 foot wide, and 60, 70 foot long. So we're trying to get it to where if somebody brings something in, you essentially have it looking more like a home than a mobile home or a shed. So wanting to change the width regulation on it, everything will still, if somebody wants to combat it, they can apply for variance. But essentially changing the profile where somebody can't put something narrow, skinny, and long to meet that 720 square feet.
And to live in it?
And to live in
Yes.
it.
Okay.
Yeah. So that was the main concern. That's kind of popped up. So they were talking about wanting to change it to 1,000 square foot. I also thought I don't know what your plans are with your,
Yep, I have to be fully transparent, like, and I'm not gonna oppose, like,
well, Cindy and I
like,
actually
yeah.
had talked about this, just so that you're
Yep.
aware. I feel like, do you want to, we had talked about this, remember, what we thought about his situation? Do you remember we talked about Pizza King? About, because it's considered, well, let me step in, you interrupt me at any moment.
Okay.
We had talked about, because he is your area there is considered a trailer court. Remember, is this ring any bell? It's already considered a trailer court. You kind of have different things that you have to follow. No one, I would say this, no one is opposing anything
Yeah,
that
no,
your thoughts
I'm
are
not.
there. It's strictly based on somebody coming in like, let's say, I'll just say up where I live, on an empty lot there, and then wanting to put that on, and it doesn't make sense where that currently is.
Yeah,
Does that
I
make sense?
that's where I wanted to be transparent.
Okay.
Like, I don't
Okay.
want it to sound like I'm advocating for myself. And
Mm-hmm.
if you want me to recuse myself from any of this, I fully get it. And like, I just want to be open.
I didn't
Well,
have,
tell us what you think.
I agree that I am a fan of anything that's aesthetically pleasing.
Okay.
If you look at everything I personally try to do,
absolutely, yeah.
so like, I'm in favor of any of that kind of stuff. So I agree with that standpoint.
Okay, question for you. Your 2-story places that you had out of the Badlands, how many square feet is that?
Oh, I mean, there's some that are 400 to 700, and there's some that are 2,000.
Okay.
That's the problem, and is ratios are very important. So that's the unfortunate problem with this, is square footage alone doesn't
Doesn't
necessarily
fix it.
fix it.
Yeah.
Because you can have something that's,
Well, that's why Eric was saying it has to be wider than just,
Like 20 foot.
yeah, that we would
That way
say.
you get rid of the modular or the mobile
Look.
home look.
So if that was the case, I don't think you need to recuse yourself in this. I
just want to be open and
feel
Well, I
like you
think
do.
we banter back and forth. I don't think it's a problem.
Yeah. Yeah. You do you. That's what we're saying. No, I think my big thing is, which we've talked about in a lot of other things that we've done in the last 6 or 7 months, is if we go ahead and pass something, or we decide, hey, we want to make a change on this, is that if somebody wants to come and, apply for a variance, I think that's the biggest thing, is that we're not saying no. We're saying, hey, come talk to us about it. We just want to hear your idea. It's the same with like living in a shipping container and making it a house, that type of thing. No one is opposed to hearing that
Well, I
idea.
might be.
Well, Cindy might be. I'm going to show her a house that looks like that. But I just think that I don't want anybody to ever think that we're saying like, absolutely not. This is it. This is,
I think we need to set a standard though.
A standard is good,
future
yeah.
new development's gonna look like, and I think it needs to appear to be not the side end of a mobile home or trailer, but you need to have that full front view where you're looking at a,
There are definitely a lot of people that have reached out to me in the last couple of years, and
so did
they
we,
want to know
Yeah,
about
I think
bringing in an Amish built shed. I tell them, well, it's gotta be 720 square feet. And they're like, well, let me see how long they can build one. Next thing you know, boom, they can bring it in
Yeah.
2 sections.
no.
so if we do,
I think 1,000 square feet is the standard anymore for the smaller end houses, actually. Because everyone's saying, well,
Is that-
1,000 square feet is considered a small house. I'm like, then my house is tiny
I know,
because it's
that's
not that.
yeah.
I'm like,
Is that what you're thinking, Kyle? I mean,
The
Eric.
1,000 square feet.
Eric,
Mhm.
I'm sorry.
I mean, yeah, you can do the math on it however you wanted to, but I think like if you put a minimum width restriction on it, say it's 20 feet,
Is that what you were thinking?
I think even at, 720 square feet, like where it's at now, you're still going to end up with something that's not a little narrow rectangle. 1,000 feet would be, that would just be my recommendation. You take it to 1,000 feet, you definitely know you're gonna have something that has some size to it that's not gonna look like a trailer or shed.
I've spent probably more hours than most people have.
Oh, for sure. Please, yeah.
So I just want to give you so some of the things that you run into is, so I actually just today did a phone conference, several phone conferences with Department of Health from Indianapolis. So there's a lot of current issues right now with tiny homes. Like there's a lot of stuff happening because basically, you guys all know there's a housing shortage.
Mhm.
So all across the country, or all the state, they're facing issues with like this exact thing in like, because what deems a mobile home versus a trailer park versus tiny homes. And so there's a bunch of this going on. The other thing I would tell you is, and you could correct me and if you disagree, what the structure is built out of is almost more important than its size. So for example, your flooring structure is a major aspect of what changes these two things.
I think
Okay.
we talked about this the last time, didn't we say that there was something? I think we talked about that too.
So like park models and RVs have like a metal linear frame.
Mhm.
Okay. And then when you start getting into like the Amish built sheds, I mean, so you can have basically 2x4 flooring, okay, all the way up to like a conventional 2x10 or 2x12 flooring structure. Okay. So some of them are built like homes and some of them are built like sheds. So like you get into these things and there may be some ways that you can even draft types of things in this, buy some of that kind of stuff, because whether you have 1,000 square foot Amish shed or not, okay, it's gonna still not look properly.
So you want to put something in there that talks about how that's built, the actual how it's built.
I would
The
say like,
verbiage
because
needs
there's
to be
where
in there.
you start differentiating a shed versus a home. And like if you started putting some small verbiages like in that, it can make a big difference.
That
I,
makes
I
sense.
think our thing that we're looking at is not to have a bunch of narrow
Mhm.
homes on property, so the width definitely is.
What's your
But-
suggestion
But
there?
this is being proactive.
That would have been an and also, so I
So,
apologize.
yes, yeah.
With
So-
and.
Yeah, that makes
Okay.
sense. Okay.
And I know that last time you suggested going 24-foot width. I think it should be between 30 and 35-foot width in order to keep it more squared and not longer.
I mean, you can put whatever you want on it, but I think once you start talking about being in the 30s, if a person has, let's just say the standard, 50-foot by 100 lot here,
Mhm.
by the time you do a 32-foot with a 2-foot overhang on the roof, I mean, you've eaten up all that real estate.
And I think 12, so here's another thing. So I think 12 foot is as wide as you can go down the road. Am I right? Yes. So once you go like, if you said everything has to be 16 foot wide, okay, you now deem anything that can just linearly go down the road. Now, there's a new catch, and I just learned this. They're starting to build them sideways and then assemble them linear. So,
Okay.
so like basically what they'll do is like you're used to seeing like a trailer going down the road like this.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. What they do is they haul them like this and they build them in 10-foot sections and then they assemble them.
Huh.
So there is a lot of stuff like this you got to be kind of on top of.
Okay, so we definitely wanted to consider a width minimum.
Can we say that it has to be built on site instead of
So that was another thing.
down?
Department of
Well-
Health, that was another thing of tiny homes versus trailer parks. So, and I'll be honest, like we're going to come before and how we have to zone and do
Yeah.
things and make sure it's right. That's another thing with Department of Health. If it's site built, it's a different category than manufactured.
Okay, so do you know what the different categories are as far as if it's site built versus being?
Well, I think there
Taken
needs
down,
to be a committee to deal with this.
Aren't we the committee?
Well, I think in order to come back to this meeting and present,
To say what
Who
you'd
you
like.
have.
To,
So we
Like, this
need
is a
someone
lot
that would
like-
do the research, is what you're saying.
Who?
you,
there was FYI, there was nobody else. It was strictly Kyle. Just Kyle. Just so
well, you two guys have got the expertise. I mean, it's one thing for us to sit up here and throw out what we think, and we don't know beans,
But you guys are about the aesthetics, so you guys figure out what you.
we want it to look pretty.
And I will say this, like back to original conversations, it's sea containers. You don't want people being able to make habitation out of sheds. That
Mhm.
was a
Right.
big part of
Exactly,
it.
exactly.
And that's where I think that you need to get,
But the ordinance needs to have all that verbiage in there, so when Jed writes up that verbiage,
Do you know, I guess we should, that was my next question is, do you know of any other communities that are
Not at
putting
this level.
restrictions? Okay.
I'm sure Lafayette, West Lafayette, and Tippecanoe County are all to that level of.
I'll tell you what I could bring to the table. I can
Just
talk
my
to
shoe.
Dennis Carson, who's the economic developer for Lafayette. And see, because I talked to him about other stuff too, and see if he has anything. Do they have a template already? Have they already created the ordinance? I could talk to Cindy Murray, she's the clerk. And see if there's other information that we can bring forth instead of, and Jed could check with his communities.
And I've got a copy of Tippecanoe County's.
We'll see, yeah, Jed's got it.
because your next thing is gonna be barndominiums.
Yeah,
Because like Tippecanoe, like, I mean, you could go,
And that's coming also.
Yep.
I just had a guy
Yeah.
reach out to me today that's getting ready to demo a trailer, and he was wanting to know about building a barn in it.
So I think we need to be proactive and look and see what ordinances are already there and can we modify those to meet our needs?
Yeah.
Instead of starting from scratch. That's the only thing that I was saying.
can you get the different classifications that you were talking about between,
there isn't like that's what I'm saying. It's all so new that, and unless I'm dead wrong, like,
Now, there's like some of these manufactured housing companies have figured out to basically get it approved through state, federal agencies, whatever, what
You're good.
essentially makes it what they consider a modular versus a single wide mobile home.
right?
We've got one that's installed here in Attica currently, and it's like 16 feet wide. And you go and you look at it, you would call it a mobile home. But the place sent me all the documentation to where it's considered modular housing.
I think it's just they're playing games on
Yep.
certain
And
things.
that's all it is.
They're just playing the
Changing Some
game.
words and the way something's manufactured, and then boom.
there is that element, but modular, I mean, so modular, there is here. So if you go out to the rear of our property,
Mhm.
I mean, it's a beautiful house. It was Scott Garrett's house.
Yeah.
That's modular.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I know.
Think of how many all-American homes are modular. That
Yeah,
look
that's true too. Yeah.
beautiful.
Rouse's home, something like
Yep. Mm-hmm.
But here you come back to like, and some of those guys may be able to correct me if I'm wrong. I know some of my friends that are in the building industries, like up towards Chicago and then back in Pennsylvania, you're back to building materials. Like our values and things like
Yes.
that, footers and foundations is how you wind up separating a lot of that stuff. You know, I think nationally, 400 feet is what's like deemed when you talk the major manufacturers of tiny homes, 400 feet is like, that's kind of one of the thresholds for some stuff, but it still always comes back to your local codes of what you can and can't do.
Well, and we want to establish the local code.
But like a barn-dominium, still, it does not theoretically have a foundation. So like there's some of this stuff that if you really want to get into that, you'd have to say your home's built on I don't know.
Foundation.
I think we need to be proactive.
We need to be proactive, and I love it when people are watching online because they can always message me. So I will say this: somebody's messaged me, and this is a good point too. They said that if we get even like too many rules, that you're not going to want anybody to build. So I feel like we have to give some clear things that we'd like to have.
Well,
But-
that's why you're looking at another ordinance that's already in place. And
Right.
see-
Yes,
what it
exactly.
looks
But I guess we want to encourage,
Yes.
but we also don't want to scare others away. I think it probably seems like a lot, but most of it is, I'm gonna say, relatively common sense on things that we're saying, hey, you're
What's common sense to us is not
Okay.
common sense to everybody.
okay, well, I say that, but that's it. Okay, so I'm gonna send out the zoning map to all of us. Kyle's going to research the entire way on how to build homes and then get back to us the next meeting. And I think that's it. And we're gonna table the current seed container thing for now, correct?
Yes,
for commercial, yeah.
until next week, until next meeting.
Until next meeting, or,
Well, I thought we were,
well, I think we're gonna do the zoning thing first. To kind of
Spot
help
zoning
us,
was-
Okay,
to
yes,
help us
yes.
kind
Which
of,
will address that.
yes, which
Yes.
will help address
The
it.
spot zoning.
I think that's it. Would anybody like to address?
Motion to adjourn.
Second,
Everybody in favor?
Aye.
wait a minute,
Oh,
next meeting.
Oh, yep, I'm sorry, I forgot to check. Check your app. It'll be on your app. It is October 13th
At 4
at 4 o'clock. Does that still work for everybody?
Yep, it's fine.
Thank
13th
you,
at 4 o'clock.
everyone.
Thank you.
Oh.
Next.
Yep.
God.